Hey guys, how's it going? CoreData here. Welcome back to the video. Today we're playing some cards, and we're taking a look at the first deck of Homefront, and that is Brit, Germany, Midrange. So this is the list. As I mentioned, this is Britain, Germany, Midrange, and this is the very first deck list that I'm playing from Homefront. Homefront, if you're unaware for some reason, is the newest expansion of cards, and it launched on, I believe, Thursday. This is one of the deck lists I tested on day one of the expansion. It wasn't the deck I wanted to cover first in the expansion, but given the early metagame, this is the deck that I've had the most success with. So this deck lines up very, very well into at least the day one metagame that I was facing, and I wanted to talk about it because it is one of the new archetypes, and it's very, very interesting. So this is, as I mentioned, a mid-range British deck, which is not something we get to talk about very often. Britain is very much pigeonholed into like air and like control. Those are the two things that Britain tends to do, but a lot of the new cards from Homefront are focused on a slightly more mid-range focused archetype for Britain, focusing around a handful of cards with the bond keyword. Now, I'm not going to get into what bond is. It's if you at the start of turn, if you didn't control a unit of the same nation, when you play the bond card, you take a tick of fatigue damage. If you did control a unit of the same nation, then the bond doesn't matter, it doesn't do anything. So like I said, this deck is kind of built around the bond mechanic. There is a handful of very, very powerful bond cards in this list, primarily in the form of the King's African Rifles. It's a 3-cost 1-up 4/4, so already premium stats. Deployment, choose a unit in hand to give it +1/+1 and bond, or +3/+3 instead if it already has bond. Now, the primary targets for King's African Rifles are both the Valentine Mark II, it's a 2-cost 1-up 2/3 with bond and fury. Deployment gets blitz if you deployed a British infantry last turn. So this obviously goes hand in hand with the African Rifles because they are a British infantry. So you can play your African Rifles, buff this, and they will immediately get blitz on the following turn. But the premier target for African Rifles is RAF Mustang, a 3-cost 2-up 5/4 with blitz and bond. Your non-British cards cost +2, and you draw a card anytime the enemy targets this. So this is one of the most powerful cards of the set, if not the single most powerful card of the set, and the Mustang is insane. This is like the primary target for the African Rifles because this comes down with one single African Rifles buff. This comes down as an 8/7 blitzer for 3. With 2-up, so that also draws you cards whenever it gets targeted for attack or by orders. So if your opponent dares to try and answer this, it replaces itself immediately in hand, which is insanely powerful. But that is basically the core of the deck. You're essentially looking to play a board-focused mid-range strategy, leaning heavily on a lot of the good board tools and value units from Germany, as well as the powerful bond stuff from the new set for Britain, and then getting your opponent into range of essentially being burnt out by a blitzing Mustang or a blitzing Valentine. That's essentially how the deck functions. Like I mentioned, the early metagame is incredibly aggressive, so we are teched for that. Because there's so much Jagger running around right now and so much burn, we are playing both copies of Crossfire and both copies of Forward Observers, one of the new cards from the new set. This is a 4-cost deal 2 damage to all enemy units. If you deployed a British infantry last turn, you also draw a card. We have a few means of deploying British infantry specifically. We're kind of lacking a little bit in very good mid-range infantry for Britain. We have a handful that enable these niche synergies. It's also the reason why we're only running one copy of Baltimore. It's not the easiest thing to trigger, but when it's active, it's very, very good. So I'm hoping that in the next set or in the mini set that comes out at the end of this expansion, that we get a handful more British infantry. But other than that, we're kind of stuck with the handful of very, very good ones that we have. As for the other new cards in the deck, we are playing Middlesex Regiment. This is a 1-cost 1-up 1/3 with guard that adds Garrison to your hand. Garrison is a 1-cost 0/3 with guard. This is one of our primary, if you deployed a British infantry, this is one of our primary British infantry deployment activators. This gives us basically 4 British infantries we can just deploy very, very easily, and enables a lot of our other cards like our Valentines and our Forward Observers. We're obviously running the Valentine. We are playing 3 copies of the Returning Honey. This is very, very good alongside the next card I'm going to talk about, but because decks such as Resistance are running around right now, the amount of extra cards we draw from the Resistance triggers as well, that also heals us, which means we're able to very easily offset the Resistance damage, as well as healing back a lot of the burn damage from the Jaguar decks right now. We're playing 3 copies of the Land Girls. This is just a 2-cost draw 2 in this deck, 90% of the time. The bond is very rarely relevant on this card, more so it's only really relevant with the Pompadours more than anything else. Just a very, very powerful draw piece for the deck. Lets us keep our hand fairly full. We are playing Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk is like, okay, primarily this is a tech for the early metagame, just again, because it's so aggressive, we need early interaction on board, and this just basically comes down and pings off a thing from a Jaguar board. Pompadours is the second and probably one of the more impactful pieces of healing in the deck. It's a 3-cost, 3/5 with guard, but you very rarely play it unless you really need to activate one of your infantry synergies early. Because while this is in your hand, every time you play a bond card, you gain a health. So basically how this works is when you play a bond card, if it's in your hand, it will reveal itself to the opponent, and then you will start gaining health every single time you play a bond card. Little bits of healing, like little incremental healing, is very, very powerful versus a lot of the decks currently running around. Primarily the Japanese decks with 106th, the new 0 op 1/3 infantry. So Pompadours is quite a lot of heavy lifting in the aggro matchups, as well as just being an overstated on-rate guard. And that is pretty much everything we're running from the new set. We are playing, like I said, the good stuff from Germany. We're playing 3 copies of Suppression and 2 copies of Verado. Suppression makes a lot of sense because, again, there's a lot of like very high priority suppression targets currently running around. Again, this is only the day 1 meta, so this will change. This is just what I have been experiencing from the extended play session I had yesterday. But suppression, very, very important, and we are running quite a lot of aircraft, so it's very easy to get the draw trigger on this. 2 copies of Rado, again, because Jaguar's running around, because decks like Frontline are running around, this is frequently just drawing us an order, which is solid enough. Again, 2 copies of Crossfire. Jaguar, Frontline, all hate to see Crossfire, so it is in here primarily for that. I do think moving forward, you don't need both forward observers and Crossfire. I think you can cut observers and just keep the Crossfire. I think Crossfire is just a little bit too good to not run in the current metagame. 2 copies of the Hen Shell. This helps us maintain board control while also chipping our opponent into range of things such as the Valentine and the Mustang. Just a very, very powerful aircraft in general, kills a lot of very, very important things at the moment. And of course, 2 copies of 20 Panzer Grenadier. This is just an added hit of value. And the Blitz Panzer also helps us get our opponent into range of things such as Mustang and the Valentines. Everything else is just control tools and some top-end mid-range threats, things like Whirlwind, things like Wave to Wave, and things like Churchill. Aside from that, the deck is pretty straightforward. It is just a deck that is looking to play the board, chip your opponent down, and then win with big burst damage from, like I said, the Mustang and the Valentine. This is a very, very interesting archetype. I'm excited to play around more with this, so expect potentially more videos focusing on like Brit midrange with potentially different allies. Again, this was one of the first decks I played of the expansion, so this might not be the best build. I can guarantee you this is not the best build. This is just a build I was having a lot of success with on the day of launch. Germany may not even be the correct ally for this. We'll have to see moving forward. I have a ton of testing lined up in the coming days. I just really wanted to get a video out for the start of the expansion. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and on to some games. Up against the US. This could be Frontline. Could be Ramp. I'm gonna pitch the Valentine. Turn 2 honey is like the goal here. Hey. Sorry, my cat's being my cat's being a cat. Yeah, so it's Frontline. Red Devils is a pretty clear indication of that. We will lead with the honey. Hey, come on. Okay. US-Soviet Frontline. Interesting. Just gonna go for land girls here. Gonna mark the damage. We have forward observers to clear if they like take the Red Devils trade here. Which they do. Second comb. I mean, I can also just go honey plus Arado. Crossfire is a good find. Like, they're kind of pushed into taking trades here. Just develops a bunch of Choco Boys. This is fine. Observers is a very clean answer to this. Just bump here. Go Observers. is a-okay, because I'm just going to Mosquito and clear the M10. Middlesex gives us a activator for forward observers and the Valentine, which is nice. We also have Crossfire and Wave. That is, I believe, the third comb. Or is that the second? Or is that the fourth comb, rather? That might be the fourth one. Plus Rangers. East African Rifles. Okay. So, I think the plan here is to go Middlesex. Take out the comb. No, it has to be. I think I just I killed the Rangers here, like this. And we drop the 3-3 on the Valentine for next turn. Hellcat is fine. I think this is a fine observers. I think we land girls first, right? And Whirlwind and Panzergrens. So this goes here. This goes here. Get the garrison down. We get the garrison down because it enables our Valentine and the observers next turn again. This is why Middlesex is so nice. It just gives us a handful of activators. Just for not a lot of deck space. It's the rifles, which is fine. SU's after. It's fine, because now we're just gonna get in with the Valentine. And play the big Spitfire. Arguments can be made to play it over here. Yeah. Interesting to see, like, Soviet ally frontline, though. Oh, against Germany. Potentially. Yeah. Alright, so against Germany, we're probably going to be looking at something slightly slower. This is more than likely going to be like Germany-France resistance, I would say. A lot of people are testing resistance right now. It's not particularly good, but there is a lot of people doing testing with it, so I would be unsurprised to see it. We do have rifles plus RAF Mustang, which is really, really good, as well as Middlesex as an opener. Unlikely to see one drop out of the opponent, so Arado's not really going to do anything. Yeah, I was going to lead Middlesex here. I have seen a little bit of US-Italy, or not US-Italy, of Germany-Italy as well. Tempted just to play the Arado, here. I could also just play the Garrison. I mean, yeah, because I'm playing the rifles next turn, so I may as well just play Garrison. King's African Rifles, buff the Mustang. Finish, boys. Okay. Pompadours off the top. Push this, and I will go with the honey. Wolfpack is going to discard my Mustang 100% of the time. Okay, cool. Discards the rifles, that's fine. I'm tempted just to play the Mustang here. Okay, to take out the finish, boys. Because if they want to answer this, I'm still drawing a card. Second finish, boys. Find observers off the top. They don't have a clean crossfire here. They can set one up with a buzz bomb, technically. Research gets the Mustang here, but that draws me a card, which is fine. Find a Rado. Okay, so I can go here. Get it for 2. Just gonna keep the pressure up. We have Panzergrenz next turn. Interesting. So this trades every day. Do like this. Just keep the pressure up in the front line here. Prolonged Siege. Draws 4. Okay, so we've already gotten through both of the Finnish boys. Find land girls off the top here. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're 1 off. I have no aircraft to enable it, so might still be worth it just to push the damage. Can land girls first. Suppression Monty. Find a Baltimore. Not active, unfortunately. I am testing a single copy right now. Salamander. Yeah, perfect crossfire. This guy's Jagdbauer, Panzergrenz, U-375. It's gonna Spitfire, and we're gonna go Honey. Capitulation. A-okay. Valentine. Yeah. I'm gonna play Pompadours here just to enable Blitz onto Valentine next turn, so if they happen to try and like crossfire me here, I have the means to do it. Front and Homeland. Yeah, that should be lethal. So we just go for suppression. Go Valentine. Nice. Mustang putting in big work to that game. Up against Soviets. Soviets is potentially going to be either Soviet Italy control or like Soviet Finn soup, I would imagine. I'll keep the errata, I'll keep research. Pompadours is tempting. It's just a solid 3-drop. I think I just keep it. We'll try it. Okay, we can play it ahead of forward observers if it's something more aggressive. We'll just pass. So no 1-drop. Leads me to believe this is likely going to be Soviet Italy. Soviet France. Okay, resistance. Interesting. Incredible. We immediately top deck a resistance. That's crazy. The odds on that, by the way. Okay, well that messes up our curve with the honey. Very cool. Yeah, we're just gonna go honey and we're gonna go Rado here. Should have errated first. That was my bad. No, you know what? No, not my bad. I was playing around top decking a resistance. Because they're orders, the erratas can pull them. Middlesex. I'm gonna go land girls here. Second Middlesex, second Valentine. I'm just gonna go with the first Middlesex. And pass. Culture colonies draw 2. Sure. I guess. I mean, I'll take it. For what it's worth, I don't think Resistance is very good. I've done quite a bit of testing with it since the expansion launched, like yesterday, and I've been thoroughly unimpressed so far. It doesn't do enough. The inconsistency of like when your opponent draws them is like a big deciding factor on how good it is, because in Hearthstone, because the decks are always like they're only 30 cards, and by the time you're shuffling them in, your opponent's had already drawn like several cards, so the odds of them hitting a plague in Hearthstone was much higher than you drawing a resistance in your 39 card deck in Cards. So yeah. Up against Germany. Yeah, I think I just keep this. Rifles is really, really good. If this is something like burn related, then the honey's going to be really good. Middlesex just solid 1-drop. The third honey. Any bond unit off the top would be phenomenal. So yeah, probably Navy Burn. It's either Navy Burn or Jurfin. Discard. Turn 3 pass leads me to believe they're holding up a countermeasure. I could be wrong, but I mean, this is also just fine. Just developing the front line a little bit. Front homeland. Sure. Find a Spitfire off the top. I will just develop the Spitfire here, I think. It's a lot of pressure. Okay, so this is going to be Sky Barons, I would imagine. There's the Mustang. Am I going to bother suppressing? I don't think. I'm just going to take all the damage. This puts him in range of the buffed Mustang from Africa Rifles, which I think is going to be enough. Routes the honey. Sky Barons, yeah. Oh, that's a new... They changed the sound effect for that, I think. Yeah. We go King's African Rifles. Hit the Mustang here. Play the honey. So I think we should be okay. Also pretty sure that this was, yeah, in hand. There's the Finn boys. That's fine. I suppressed first and then hit with the Mustang. Yeah, it was Finn ally. Suppress. Mustang. Sick card. The Mustang is so good. Up against Britain. This is most likely going to be like Brit France Resistance. That's been my like experience with Britain so far. It's primarily just like Brit France. They do in fact pass turn 1. So these crossfires are going to do nothing this game. Yep. Get the errata down. Well, Kitty Hawk the Honey. It sets up a crossfire, technically. Yeah, resistance. I love how I've drawn the 4 board clears versus the deck that does not need the board cleared. Which is very typical. I mean, saying that, I do have a crossfire that I can just take here, which is, like, fine. Because next turn I can just Kitty Hawk this. And, like, I know they're France allies, so I know they're, like, their interactions are, like, really limited. I think we have enough means of putting on pressure. So we find suppression. No, our hand's just a little bit clogged. Cromwell. Cromwell plus resistance cancel, sure. I just suppression this. Third of Evil Resistance. Miller Land Girl, that's fine. Suppression. Hit a resistance off the top, that's fine. King's Africa Rifles doesn't actually do anything in this hand, I don't think. So I think I just play a Spitfire and go in for one with the Arado. Actually, no, it does do something. It gives me the Valentine buff. And empties my hand a little bit. Like, the thing about resistance is all it really does is just drag the game out. Like, a ton. The second of rifles. Madam. Can you not? Can you not be on the desk? Thank you. Let's see. Like, I have the option of going for Valentine here, but I also have the option of just making the Valentine a game-ending threat, right? Because it goes, I can have it, like, potentially deal 16. So maybe I just push the rifles. Play the second rifles. I can land girls. No, I hold the Pompadours. I think I just pass at this. I think this is fine. Because depending on how the draws land the next turn, second honey is fine. Another resistance council. Honey off the top. I could just do observers. Like double observers push. But I'm losing the value on the Valentine then. Because I know he's going to have Liberation. He's going to have some amount of Liberations in hand and maybe Fortifications. So I kind of want to just get him out of nowhere. So I'll push this 4-4. Like, I can set it up with Pompadour, so it's fine. I need to be wary of wave after wave as well, out of the opponent. Yeah, I just need to get them to 16. 16 is lethal. Easier said than done, but we'll see. Co-belligerents. Knocking over boxes. So it's just co-belligerents on Spitfire. Dilemma's 1. Find a mosquito off the top. Go Pompadours here. Just to enable the Valentine next turn. Also, that's all the honeys out of the deck now from the opponent. And like, we have Mosquito for a little bit of extra burn. And there's a Mustang chilling somewhere in the deck as well. There's the Liberation. So I knew they were going to have, like, be sitting on them. So I'm guessing now they're worried about potentially dying. Into a Whirlwind. Whirlwind of our own. Deal 4. Play the Valentine. We're 1 off. We're like a little bit off with the Mosquito here. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think there's any answer in the deck from the opponent at that point. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this deck is a ton of fun. It's very good into the early metagame, but we'll see how the metagame evolves and how these British mid-range decks evolve alongside it. This is an archetype I'm incredibly excited to test more with, like I said at the start. So expect more Brit mid-range videos with different allies or different variations of the like the bond package. But yeah, super excited about the expansion. A lot of things are very, very interesting. A lot of very cool build ground cards came out. So expect a lot of very out there brews as well as some like solid tier 2 stuff in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said before, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.